Welcome back to Harris Family Adventures. If you're new here, my name is Heather. My husband's name is Justin, and we have a 10-year-old son named Reese. Over the next year, we're going to be traveling to Mexico, Italy, and then at different places around the United States. A couple weeks ago, I made a packing video where I didn't actually do the packing, but I shared my packing list for Mexico. We will be going in June. We will be going to an all-inclusive resort, specifically the Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya. This is a resort that Justin and I have visited 2 previous times. So this will be our 3rd time going. And you guys seem to like that video. And I don't know if it was the packing part. Sorry, not much packing talk today. Or if it was the all-inclusive part, or if it was specifically the Valentin part. So I thought, well, we'll see what you guys like. Let's talk about going to the Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya. Sometimes we just call it VIM for short. It makes life easier. Okay, so the first thing is getting there. Valentin is just south of Cancun. It's probably a 35 to 45 minute drive, depending on just how fast your driver is driving. I mean, they all drive fast, but just how fast yours is driving. But first you have to get through the airport. So I feel, and I don't have a ton of airport experience, I do feel the Cancun airport can be a bit difficult at times. When you land, you'll first have to go through customs and immigration, and that can take a while. I think the last time we went, it took probably 2 hours of standing in line just to finally get to the counter, and they say, you know, they look at the form that you filled out on the plane. So we've talked about that before. Make sure you have pens available for that. And they ask like where you're going, and they look at your passport, and that process takes maybe a minute. So it's always confusing, like, why does this line move so slowly? But it does. It can move really slowly. You can also get really lucky and fly through it, but it can take a while. So be patient and just kind of know that going into it. There's also another part in the customs and immigration part of the airport of your adventure where you'll hit a button, and if it's red, that means that you have to have your luggage searched. Now, most people get a green. We've gotten a red once, but green all of the other times. And they just go through your luggage. At that point, you've gotten any of your checked bags, and they just search it all, which is annoying, but you know, as long as you haven't brought anything, everything is fine. Then you will walk through a hallway, but it's pretty wide, full of people trying their best to convince you that you need them for some reason or another. And just walk and keep walking. Don't stop. They're going to say, no, if you've rented a car, you need to go here. No, if you've done this, you need to go here. No, if you have a tour, you have to check in here. No. That's not true. Just go. You just go. Every resort is going to have some concierge, multiple usually, available to help with any of that type of thing. Just go. Then you'll get outside, and I feel like it's still kind of chaotic, and it's hot, and it's humid. So that is something to note. We have left our area when it has been really cold before, but you have to know like, oh, and then I'm going to be standing outside in the Cancun airport, and my body will not be acclimated at that time of year to hot and humid. So kind of know that, wear layers. Obviously you wear layers on a plane anyway, but wear layers. Then you have to find your shuttle if you're using a shuttle. I think you can rent a car. I've never rented one. I just take a shuttle. Now, the Valentin does typically have a promotion going. I think it's been going for the last 3 years. If you book 5 or more nights with them, then they will provide the transportation for free from the airport, which is a fantastic deal. But we always go for 4 nights. That's kind of our sweet spot. And it doesn't make sense for us cost-wise. It is a very good deal for them to give you, but it's not worth staying 1 extra night in terms of money. So if you feel like, yeah, we would like to go for maybe a week, just know that will be included. That's never been included for us. We have used Amstar in the past. We have used USA Travels or transfers in the past. I haven't booked it yet, so I don't know which one we'll be using. It's usually around, oh gosh, I don't even know if I should quote this. I think it's usually around 100, and we do this shared transportation, which means we get to a van, and then we might have to wait a while for them to, you know, they've done the configuring of who's going to drive who where, so we might be waiting for a while for another couple or a couple other couples to join us if they are going to be staying at resorts around the Valentin. So that's the thing, is it's sometimes these resorts are very far off the road, and as if you're dropping a lot of people off, you're driving all the way into the lobby and then all the way back out just to get on the highway to drive down some more. So there is an upgrade that you can have a private transfer, and then you were going right to your resort. So that might be worth it, depending. So just kind of look around, and they're usually very good about communicating with you about how to find them once you're outside the Cancun airport. So what color shirts they wear or where they're located. Some of them say like, take the long sidewalk and just keep going, that kind of thing. You'll check in, you'll get in the car, you might wait a while, and then you're on your way. So you've gotten to the Valentin, you're super excited, you've made it. And then you have to check in. And I will say, this is something I don't love about the Valentin, is that the check-in process can be lengthy. They typically have probably 4 to 6 check-in workers at individual desks in the lobby, and so you are just going to wait for your chance. And the check-in process takes a while when you actually get to the desk, and you kind of understand why you've been sitting there for so long, because they really try to get you to upgrade your room at that point. Now, it may be for us that the first time we went and Justin said, yeah, we'll upgrade, and then the second time we went, they probably knew that, and then they pushed it and we upgraded again. So that's going to happen, I just assume. I have not done the math. If we were to reserve an upgraded room at reservation time versus check-in time, if we're saving any money, there is negotiation that happens during that time. And I always say, no, we don't need to upgrade. And I'm not trying to like play hardball. I don't think we need to upgrade, but Justin likes to upgrade. So then, it was going to be this cost. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, we are fine with a basic room. And then, oh, well, there is a special that we could run, and that type of thing. So we have stayed in an upgraded room the last 2 times that we have gone, but the basic room is just fine also. It is beautiful. I have been inside. I have seen them. They are also beautiful. And in fact, I know I've read on some like travel boards that some people don't like that upgraded room. Maybe they've been given that for free, or they've worked with a travel agent that has upgraded the room for them for free. But the upgraded category, just a word of warning, the bathtub is in between the bedroom area and the rest of the bathroom area. Now, the toilet has its own room, so you wouldn't see anyone using the toilet, but if you don't really like that it's that open and you want some more definition in your spaces, then the basic room is going to be a better choice for you, because there's that wall separating it. So just kind of know that. That's not something that we really care about. That's not a reason for us to upgrade it, but it's also not like, ooh, we don't like that. We have upgraded so that we have a bit of a better location, and that we have a balcony overlooking the golden pool. We'll talk more about the golden pool in just a bit, but that is something that it is a very nice room. It's a little bit of a bigger balcony. In terms of rooms, the only thing I care about is I don't want to be on the first floor. That Cancun area is very jungly, and I just don't. Snakes are my thing. That's not true. I have seen a snake, and one time, not the Valentin, but my parents were in a first floor room, and there was a snake in their room. So I just always ask to be off of the first floor. I know that it's still possible to have critters in your room, even snakes if you're on the second or third floor, and all of the buildings only go to 3 floors, and they do all have elevators. So I just feel better if we're not on the first floor. And then I also ask that we are a building closer to the lobby, plaza, restaurant area. All of those are kind of together. And the first time we went, we stayed at a beautiful room overlooking the golden pool, but it was a couple of buildings down the way. And at the end of the night, when you're exhausted and you're sweaty and you've been dancing and your feet hurt, you do not want to make a really long walk to your room. So this last time I said, that's fine, like we can upgrade, but I want it to be a room that is pretty close, or as close as we can be, overlooking the golden pool, but still having not too far of a walk back at the end of the night. So I want the location, and I want it to be off of the ground floor. Otherwise, I don't really care. Also, a word of not warning, caution. If you book an ocean view room, I have read, we've never stayed in one. I have read some people have been frustrated because there is quite an expansive beach between the rooms and the actual ocean. And there's also a lot of vegetation, palm trees, especially along that area where those rooms are. And so it is not a direct view of the ocean. It's not, we've been lucky enough to stay like oceanfront, where like your room is here and the ocean is here, and that's gorgeous and that's fantastic. That is not what you're going to get with an ocean view room at the Valentin. So just kind of keep that in mind. And some people still really, really love it, but just kind of knowing that if you do decide to upgrade and pay more for that room category. Okay, I was just going to talk about kind of our daily schedule. Like, what does a day look like there? Now, if you've been to an all-inclusive, it's probably very similar, but I just thought I'd go through that. So I typically wake up very early. I'm an early riser anyway, ever since becoming a mother. It's just ingrained in me now, which is really fun. So I get up early, and yes, I save the chairs. I know. It's an awful game. It's an awful system, but everybody does it. So to be like, no, like I'm really good and didn't save chairs, well, now you don't have a place to sit. So yes, I get up early and I save the chairs. No, I don't save chairs. This is how I justify it. I don't save chairs on the beach and by this pool and chairs in the pool, because they do have those loungers in the pool. No, I save a total number of chairs as the people we have in our group. So last time we went, there were 6 of us. So typically I would save 4 chairs that were kind of under the shade a little bit, and then 2 of the loungers in the pool, or maybe 3 and 3. So I'm not greedy, and I stay there the whole time, but I do save the chairs. So I get up early, I save the chairs. I watch them cleaning the pool out. I watch other people just kind of up and walking around, and it's kind of just like a nice quiet time. Then once everyone in our party is up and ready, we will go to breakfast. Now, I should have made a word of warning about this video. The last time we went was January of 2020. So not only has it been 2 years, and things can change in 2 years, everything has changed. So all of this information is based off of my experiences, having never been there post-pandemic. And I don't even know if we're post-pandemic now, but never been there. But the last time I went, COVID wasn't even really like a thing. I mean, it kind of was like in other parts of the world, but we were like, it's fine. So yes, I do know that what we used to do was go to breakfast at the poolside buffet location that's also oceanside. That, I believe, is now a la carte. So it's a wonderful menu, and you can still order as much as you want. If you want every single thing on the menu, that's fine. You can have everything on the menu. It probably won't fit on your table, but it's fine. It's no big deal. But it's no longer a buffet. There's another option that's for breakfast, and it also used to be a buffet, and as I understand it, it's now kind of an assisted buffet. So you go and they have lots of things. Instead of, a bin where you might scoop out something, they're individually plated small dishes, or they have staff there that is able to assist you in getting what you would like from the buffet. So neither one of those is really like the buffet experience, but it's still delicious. So typically we will go to breakfast, and then we will go back and we spend the morning lounging and people watching by the big pool. So there are 3 pools, but kind of 4, but kind of 3. Let me explain. There's the big main pool, and it's huge, it's enormous. There are 2 pool bars in the pool. There's also a bar outside of it. There's the bridge over it. I think if you've seen anything about the Valentin, it's going to have that pool in there, the big pool. I don't know if that's what it's called. The main pool, probably. But within that, because it's so big, there's kind of 2 halves, and they are very different. So one half is like the activities, party, fun half. And that's where we sit. That's where they're gonna have all of the activities like water volleyball, water spinning. Oh my gosh, doing spinning, it's so fun. It's so hard to do that in the water, but that's something that I get to watch in the morning, is them pushing the bikes into the water. Yeah, just all of the activities. That's where they might have a saxophonist come out in the afternoon and play. That's where kind of the action is. They've got the music playing, and I love that. Now, Justin doesn't like that, but he's kind of outvoted by the rest of our party. So The other half of that same exact pool, you just walk a little bit further and it is just much calmer and zen. There are no activities that happen in that part of the pool, and it is just overall calmer. As you go that direction, you're also headed towards the beach. So if that kind of helps orient you to yourself. Now, between the big pool and the main lobby, there is a really small, just rectangle shaped pool. I think once upon a time it was for a specific travel company. Only their guests got to use that pool. I don't believe that's the case anymore because I've never seen any signage about, keep out, or only these certain kinds of guests can go there. It's also very, very quiet. Anytime I've walked by, it's been very quiet and just looks kind of boring, but there's very few people there. So if that's your style, then you want to do that. Or even if like you just want to do it for an afternoon, that makes sense. So that's why I said the big pool is kind of like two pools in one. Then there's this like little pool that no one really ever uses, so I don't know if that counts. And then there's the golden pool, and we've actually never been in the golden pool. We've stayed overlooking the golden pool, but we've never actually been in the golden pool. It is also quiet and relaxing. So again, most of the people in our group like to people watch and activities and listen to the music, and that is just not the vibe for that crowd. And so we've never been there. We've always talked about like some afternoon we should just go there and just kind of like experience it. But I feel like every day we look at the activities and we're like, well, but they're going to be doing this afternoon, or this is happening this afternoon. We want to be here for this. And so we just always get called back to the big pool, the fun side of it, the loud side of it. So that's the pools. We usually spend all of our time in that morning area hanging out on the fun side of the big pool, sometimes doing activities or just watching people do activities. Then we'll go to lunch. Again, there's those two options for lunch. There is always room service delivered to your room. So if you wanted to go back to your room, that would be another lunch option. There's also now food carts. Now the couple we were going with just went last summer, and I was showing her the food truck menu, and she was really excited. They have some gluten-free options, and they were just kind of excited overall to not have to, and you don't have to look nice to go to the buffets, or now what the buffets have become, but you do kind of want to drip dry a little bit, kind of get your stuff together a little bit. But to have a food truck by the pool where we could just go and get some of those same options that are available is really exciting. So you'll have to definitely subscribe so that you can see our videos coming out in June to see what that experience is like. I do know that they're trying to offer more of those types of options. Last time we went, they had a churro cart in the plaza at night. They had another cart offering some kind of Mexican specialty. I tried it. It had corn. I did not enjoy it, but that was poolside as well. So I think that they're trying to expand on those options. So that's a really fun thing. After we eat lunch, we go back to our chairs. We spend the rest of the afternoon basically like the morning. People bring books, so we're reading books, we're watching people, just all the fun things. And then what we will do is we will go back to get ready for dinner. And I actually kind of worried about this going through a group of people, that it might be kind of tough. One of the things I would really suggest is we set a precedent very early in our planning our first trip of like, if there's some night that couple A or couple B just wants to stay in their room and order room service, or they want to go to a restaurant that no one else wants to go to, that's okay. Like, we don't all have to stay together. So I think we just were like, nobody's feelings are going to be hurt. We all understand that. So if you are going with others, maybe kind of setting that precedent of like, we're going to make our plan, but like everybody can do their own thing and nobody's going to be offended by it. It's just worked out though that we've all kind of been in agreement. I do know a lot of people really like the French restaurant. I've looked at the menu and there's just not anything on that menu that I would like to eat. So we have never been there. We've also never been to Tom and Sari, which is another restaurant that they have. We've never been there. So we really have gone to 3 restaurants. The first one is my favorite one. We usually go there the first night, which is their Italian restaurant. And I love Italian food anyway. And I think it's beautiful and I just love the experience of it, and it's fantastic. So we typically will go there for one night. Another restaurant that the group enjoyed overall, and I enjoyed the atmosphere, is Mar and Tierra. So when I was talking about that buffet that is down by the beach, it turns into a restaurant at night, Mar and Tierra. And so there is something really nice about sitting there and getting it's open air, so you can hear the ocean and you can feel like the breeze is off the ocean. And so that's a really nice atmosphere. And again, they're just so great and serviceable that you can kind of order what you want and kind of make it your own. So that menu is not one that I love a lot of the options, but I can kind of just make it my own. Another option that we go to typically is the hibachi. So there is Ginger, which is a restaurant that has Japanese food. It has I've heard, a tremendous sushi bar. We've never sat at the sushi bar. You can actually just sit there and eat sushi. But they also have a hibachi. Now, something that is different about the Valentin is that you do not need to make reservations except for the hibachi. So how you do that is you go to your building's concierge, and I feel like one time when I was in charge of the reservations, and I think this happened when our other friend was in charge of the reservations the next time, was that the concierge in our building was not available, and they just had a sign like, please, if you need a concierge, please see building 4 or please see building 2 or whatever it happened to be. And you have to be there very early. I believe it opens at 9, but I remember when I got there at like 8:30, I was like the 4th in line just at our building's concierge. So you need to get there early. Obviously, if there's just 2 of you, that makes it easier. But when we are making reservations for 4 or 6 people, it gets a little bit trickier. You might end up eating a little bit later or quite a bit earlier than you're used to. It is a very fun experience, and it is really good food. I mean, it's very good food. So that's a fun thing to do as a group. We've met some other people that have been sitting with us at the time, so that's a really fun experience as well. So going back to our schedule, we will go to dinner, and then typically we'll just kind of spend some time doing different things. So we might go to the sports bar. That's really fun. Sometimes we've done that before dinner too. It's kind of a nice place to meet up. They have games like Jenga and things like that. They have pool tables, and so it's kind of just laid back and fun and delicious. They have the plaza area where they have a band playing, and then that switches to the DJ later in the evening. We've gone like shopping at the little shops before, but just kind of enjoying the evening. And then once the band is done, and I know people love the Imperial Band, and that's fantastic, then the DJ comes. And that's when we dance our faces off. We just dance and dance and dance, and you're sweaty and you're hot and you're like, oh my gosh, I just need to sit down. And then another great jam comes on and you just gotta get up and dance. And during this time, there are wonderful service staff and wait staff around to help with anything that you were wanting, and they're very good about, if you've ordered a margarita, they will bring you that with a bottle of water. So they do a good job of doing that. And that is how we end our day, is with all of the dancing. So that's kind of our typical schedule when we get there. Again, we only stay for 4 nights, with me waking up so early and spending the day in the sun, eating delicious food that's probably not the best for me because I'm on vacation, and then drinking and dancing and eating more food at night. 4 nights is enough. We get to that 5th day, I'm like, we are ready to go home. So speaking of checkout, again, I think it's about a 45-minute drive. That's what I would estimate to get back to the airport. And sometimes there have been really long lines at the Cancun airport to check in. So just leave early. I know some people have said they like to try and get a later flight and then a later checkout. I myself would just have a hard time really relaxing that last day if I knew, like, okay, at this time, like, I need to be starting to get ready and starting to get packed, and so I can get to there. I just take an earlier flight. Now, they have like flights at 5 a.m. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like noon. That's probably the earliest flight, because for me to feel comfortable with a noon flight, I would like to be at the airport by like 10. So now we're leaving at like 9, which means we're eating breakfast at 8, which means we're up at 7. So that's where I feel comfortable. And then that allows us to come back in a decent amount of time as well. All right, I don't think, oh, there was one other thing I wanted to add about the Cancun airport. Just so you know that when you get there early, you will go up the escalator and then you go through security and then you walk through all of these stores. Sometimes there's tequila samples. It's really good. Try that. Then you get to this big food court area in Cancun. They're pretty smart. They do not announce your departure gate until I think like 30 minutes before departure. So you're kind of kept captive in this area. I mean, you can go wherever you want, but you know, you don't really want to wander too far one way and just have your gate announced that it's all the way the other direction. So just kind of know that you're going to have some downtime there as well. All right, that was just a quick overview of kind of what we do and what we think about the Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya. Please let me know if you have any specific questions. This was pretty broad for our experiences there, and like I said, please subscribe because coming in June you will get to see our own experiences there. That's all I have for now. Please again like and subscribe this video, comment down below with any questions, and I will see you next time.